So when I was with Yes in 2001 on the Symphonic Live tour, we were playing classic Yes. In North America, we were playing stuff from the Yes album, Fragile, Close to the Edge, Relayer, occasionally from Going for the One, and then there were new songs from the upcoming album Magnification, which hadn't been released yet. So it wasn't a Magnification tour per se, but it was new stuff. So, of course, the band wanted to throw a couple things in there. It was confusing because the audience hadn't heard it yet and they couldn't purchase it yet. Until we went to Europe for the second leg of the tour. Later in 2001, the album was out, so we added some more Magnification stuff. But when we played in North America, everyone was fine with the concert. It was classic Yes. Conspicuously absent was Owner of a Lonely Heart, the band's biggest hit song. And I never heard one complaint, even from casual Yes fans that were friends of mine that went, and they only knew Owner of a Lonely Heart, that didn't even cross their mind because of the massiveness of the orchestra and like Close to the Edge, Ritual, Gates of Delirium. I mean, the big guns, you know. It was, it didn't leave anyone wanting. However, we get to Europe, and the promoters are like, you gotta play your number one song, especially since we're going to new territories that Yes had never played before, in the former
Eastern Bloc,
Iron Curtain. Yeah, so they were really like, yeah, you gotta play Owner of a Lonely Heart. Now, that wasn't a part of Steve Howe's history with the group, as we know. That was Trevor Rabin. And so it wasn't his flavor of rock and guitar and Yes, however you want to put it. So when it came time to play Owner of a Lonely Heart, Steve was the one who was just like, why? It's not me. And Chris Squire and John were like, look, we got to play ball here. We got to do it. And also, they like doing it. It's part of their history, and Alan White as well. So Steve was reluctant, and they were a democracy at the time. So, or they needed unanimity. So Chris Squire came to me and noticed that I get along with Steve very well. So maybe I could talk to him about doing Owner of a Lonely Heart. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I've been in this group for 3 months. And I have an expiration date. They know that at the end of this tour, it's done. So what am I going to possibly do? So I went and met with Steve one afternoon before sound check, and it was unusual. I wouldn't usually bother him during the day. And so he said, well, what's going on? What can I do for you? And I managed to say, so there's talk about doing Owner of a Lonely Heart. And he rolls his eyes and says, oh, they sent you. He knew right away. And I was like, yep, yeah, they did. And he very eloquently explained to me why he was resistant. And he said, look, that's just not my style. I don't think the audience would like the way that I would play that song from beginning to end, because I play a different style. And I just quickly thought, I said, well, what if I do Trevor's harmonized guitar solo on synth? And I just threw that out there, and he thought for a second and said, okay, I'll agree to it. So then I come strutting out, saving the day. So here it is. And yeah, that's how it went down. So if you look at Symphonic Live on DVD, Blu-ray, I'm playing Trevor's solo or thereabouts on the synth, and Steve got to play his way on it, and we still had some of that 80s flavor in there too. So that's how it ended up there.
That's crazy.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Yes
exactly,
World.
right? Yeah, because I mean, it's like obviously it's an easy riff to play, and the verse sections are just arpeggiations, but it's the solo that's really the weird part that it's probably not amenable to the Steve Howe style of guitar playing.
Yeah, it's quintessential
exactly.
80s hard rock.
What did you play? Did you play it on the Alesis, or what did you play?
The Alesis Andromeda, yeah, one of my favorite synthesizers of all time, which has been very rare now for a long time because it didn't last very long in the market. But I grabbed one up because when I got the Yes gig, I bought a Mini Moog off of eBay immediately. Buy it now. I'm in Yes. I'm playing a Mini Moog. And then John Anderson and the crew were like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. Those things are high maintenance. And also John wanted quote new sounds. Because if you think about it, these bands in the 70s were using the latest and greatest stuff. It was Mini Moog, Mellotron, so he's still like it's reluctant to look backward, even though and I know that people love that sound. If they're coming to a Yes concert, I think they're gonna love Mini Moog and Mellotron and that stuff too, because again, going back to that early question, it's the sound that is part of what gives people that emotional connection to these classic albums and these great times in their lives that they want to recapture. So John put the kibosh on the Mini Moog, but I was thinking, I gotta have that analog synth flavor. And Alesis had just come out with this Andromeda synthesizer, which was brand new and had some of the modern bells and whistles, but at its heart was an analog synth. So I was able to get some of those Mini Moog type sounds from it and use it for the most part, but it also could go 80s or modern, whatever you want to call it. And I was able to stack and layer different sounds together to make this sort of thing. Because I knew I wasn't going to fool anybody into thinking it was guitar. So I wasn't going to go for that. I just wanted to get close enough that it had the bite and had attitude and it sounded wacky and
because they didn't really have, I guess modeling wasn't really as big of a thing back then. Emulator wasn't emulation at all. Okay.
No, no, that's not true. The Yamaha did have modeling, and you know what? I retract that. Yeah, there were in the mid '90s is when some of those companies were coming out with crude physical modeling instruments for, say, like a woodwind instrument or something, or they could even maybe model an analog synth, which was one of the other keyboards I had on the rig. With was this Yamaha AN1X, it was called. It was an analog modeling synth. But I could tell the difference. If I was playing the Andromeda, I felt the juiciness of it. The Yamaha, they were getting there.